Well, I think, one of the first things that we talk about in Bama fundamentals is effort and finish. And so, our guys, the effort that they bring, the energy that they bring, those things are palpable. They feed off of one another. There is a momentum that is carried in a football game, and those are things that we need to be mindful of as we continue to set the tone for what it's supposed to look like. I told the guys the responsibility of the Swarm D, whether run or pass of stopping the offense is placed on all 11 shoulders of the defense, right? And so that's the mentality they have, but it takes a special effort to do those things, and I think we're getting that done.
This roster.
Well, Deontay is a great young man. He carries himself with a great presence. He handles things from a professional level. You can tell he's operating with another level in mind. But I thought when he got on the field, I saw a different version of Deontay Lawson, one that I'm excited to go on the field with. And from that standpoint, our linebacker room is always, in my mind, going to set the tone for how we do things day in and day out. And I think Deontay is a guy that you can point towards right now that's doing things at a really high level.
This roster was built for another.
Say that again, please. Well, I think, experience is finite, right? And so those are things that you have to be able to learn and grow. I think our offensive system, we do a whole lot offensively. We're very dynamic. I've dealt with that over the years, I've worked with Kalen DeBoer, obviously, worked with Nick Sheridan. I've seen this offense firsthand. I've seen, we're really aggressive in our installation. We put a lot of things in, show a lot of pictures. And so when you're a young player and you're getting all those things thrown at you early, those are a lot of reps that you're able to refer back upon as you get into the season. And so I can't imagine seeing anybody else in the country install at a more aggressive rate than what our offense does. But those things are going to pay dividends for some of those young defensive backs. Yeah, growing up in the South, my dad, was a longtime defensive coordinator all over the SEC. I played in the SEC, have always had tremendous respect for Alabama. I think there is a standard that's been set here, certainly in the last 17 years with Coach Saban, but certainly before that. Somebody gave me a pair of shoes the other day, and it had 18 and 31, and I didn't know what that meant, and now I do, right? And those are the things that when you look at what this place is, there's a standard here that in college football is respected across the board, and you want to be a part of those things. To do that with Kalen DeBoer is something truly special. And for any of you that knew my time at South Alabama or know what I think about Mobile, Alabama, I absolutely adore that city. I love the university. I love that football team and what we were building there. This was an opportunity I was not going to turn down.
For fans that are new to this defense, what's the difference going into it? Is it going to be a big difference? And how big has Nick Saban been in this install?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. That's what everybody, there has been a standard of defensive play, and it's been led, by one man in the last 17 years. And for Coach Saban has been incredibly supportive so far. I've met with him a number of times, both on the phone and multiple in-person meetings. He's done what I've asked is that, he helps me kind of the learning curve, right, adjust to what we're doing. As we talk ball, those are fun things for both of us to be able to talk through what they've done defensively over the years, how our defense has adjusted. This defense has been around for a long time under my dad. We've adjusted and kind of evolved with college football. It's ever evolving in terms of the offensive schemes. You have to face Coach. I would say once he got to Miami, was a little bit more of a 3-4 structure, and then carried that over the last 17 years here, but kind of evolved to a little bit more of a 3-4 with a nickel. So we say 3-4, but we really mean it's a nickel to the field or traveling to the boundary, whatever. That's really how we've evolved. My dad was one of the originators of the 4-2-5 defense. We do those things. We still get in 4-down looks, but we move in and out with that outside wolf backer into the boundary. And so really we've kind of evolved more towards Coach, and he's probably evolved a little bit more towards us. So the learning curve for our players is less than you would think.
Based on what you have on your roster, it seems like you have a lot of wolves. Is there a challenge in trying to create more bandits or?
Yeah, wolves. Yeah, wolf. We have a wolf pack, right?
There you go.
No, we do. We've got a number of outside linebacker bodies, frames. I'm excited to see what we're going to be able to do with those things in terms of sub packages that we can carry on the field. When you have speed like that, you've got Q Robinson, you got Quay Rusal, you got Keanu Coate, Yanze Pierre, a number of those guys that are in that kind of outside linebacker core, and then obviously some special guys that have a ton of experience as well. So I've been really impressed what I've seen from those guys, and we got to find creative ways to get them in one-on-one matchups.
Real quick, guys, hold on. We're going to stay here with him. If there's a couple of coaches in here, if you've got your questions you want to break off, but we'll keep Kane here for a second.
Okay.
On that note, moving Keeley to the defensive line, is played. What was the process in doing that, or the thought process in doing that, and how do you think he's going to adapt it?
Yeah, I think, when you look at Keon, I think you see his frame, how he's developed just even in the last year here. I think he's got a frame that is going to grow more into that bandit role for us. That bandit position can play a 9 technique, a 5 technique, can reduce down and play a 4-eye at times, right? And I think as you see what Keon is developing into and what he may develop into at the next level, that's probably a better fit for him.
You talked about energy and effort. What do you yourself want to do on the field every day to kind of maximize that in your players?
Well, I think, the responsibility as a defensive coordinator is to set the tone of what you're looking for. I write on my notes every single day before we go out on my paper, you set the standard, right? You are the standard for how you want things done. I think, leaders lead from the front, right? And they serve everyone else around them, but they also set the example and the tone of what things need to be. If I ask our players to bring energy every single day, right, I need to bring energy every single day. And so I think ultimately my job is to set the standard, cast vision, and then hold everybody accountable to the relentless detail that it takes to accomplish that vision.
Coach, you brought up Deontay Lawson, but just looking at Malachi Moore and what he brings to the secondary, what about his leadership, just having a guy like that in that background?
Malachi Moore is an unbelievable professional. I think he carries himself with a body language and a demeanor that every coach wants to work with, wants to compete with every single day. He's got a hunger to get better. He's not satisfied with where he is, although he's done a tremendous job as a football player. And really excited about what he's going to bring to the table from a leadership standpoint, especially with some of these young defensive backs that are very talented, right? But they need that leadership, they need that experience to be able to lean upon.
Coach, how much of a luxury is it when you can go up against an offense like this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe not get exposed on Saturday? How much does it help you prepare?
Well, again, I think as you're going through those things, you want reps, a different formation, different motion, different schemes, both in the run and pass game. And so from my perspective, when you can see those things and you can put those things on tape and you can correct errors and mistakes and praise the good things that you've done well, it just lessens the curve of things that you may see. Defense is inherently reactionary. We're trying to play with anticipation as opposed to reaction. And so when you've seen a lot of different looks and a lot of different formations, motions, all those things, you can play with anticipation. And I think this offensive scheme going against it helps.
One or two more here.
We saw Damani Jackson and Jalen Hurley working in the past quarterback spot too. Just talk about what you expect from them and the kind of caliber players that they are.
Well, Damani obviously coming, he's got experience in playing the game, right? And those things carry over from one university to another, one scheme to another, but also learning some of the cultural things that we're doing here, right? We're all learning those things under Coach DeBoer, but there's certainly been some staples and standards that have been here for the last 17 years that we've carried as well. So he's learning those things, but the experience level is certainly going to be able to help from that perspective. Jaleel Hurley's been here for a number of years, has a tremendous work ethic. I've been so impressed with him in the fourth quarter program, the things that he's done just to elevate himself in position to go compete for a job. And then you've got a number of freshmen that are extremely impressive right now.
Is the expectation with Deontay that he's going to be the guy with Green Dot, the guy who you're communicating with?
Yes.
What does that require?
Yeah, so, those are things that we're working right now in practice. We're going through those things. I think those are some things from a communication standpoint. I'm trying to figure out how much I want to communicate to the on-field player, how much feedback does he want in between plays, what communication is positive, what is not, and then certainly the ball or the record or whatever is going to cut off at 15 seconds, and so you got to have all the same things that you've done in the past. So those are things we're kind of seeing what sticks on the wall right now, and we'll kind of figure that out and listening and talking to a lot of guys in the NFL just to see how they've done it. Yeah.
Still to ask you about the accountability circles, whether you're still doing that and what that is.
Yeah, so the accountability circle is something we've done for a very long time. I got it from Larry Fedora years ago, who I played for. We hold young men accountable for their effort and their finish, and so when they do not meet the standard and expectation, right, that is in the form of a loaf, and so we hold them accountable in the next day's practice for a loaf. We don't hold them accountable immediately. We go in, we chart it, we look at it, and then we give them the opportunity for production in the next day's practice. So if they get a PBU, they get a sack, they get a takeaway, those are minus loafs at the end, and those loafs are paid in up downs. When you step up to the middle of a circle of guys and you say, my name's Kane Wommack, and I let Swarm D down 5 times, right? Those guys pay the up downs for you. You got to stand there and watch your teammates pay for the things that you didn't do to meet the standard. And so there's real accountability in that. And I think, we'll see significant improvement from day 1 to day 2, I would hope.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Roll Tide. Thank you.